Ujjayi. Welcome to the Gator Gates podcast. Before we get started and before we start talking about our sponsors and we get into today's topic and all of those things, I would like to take the time to acknowledge the forces in the non-material, the ancestors that stand behind this great work, and how we are all Dogon initiates. So everything that you guys hear, yes, it might be, different flavors and who it's coming from. It might be a bit different, but a lot of the things we talk about, a lot of things that we refer to is coming from somewhere, and it's coming from something. And it's really due to Neb Nabala Musa Moradinabig opening up the doors for this knowledge to come to the West and opening up the doors and, spreading the knowledge again to the world after, the Kemetic civilization went into hiding and made everything secret. So we'd like to acknowledge all the forces in the non-material, Neb Nabala Musa Moradinabig, the ancestors of the Earth Center, the ancestors, all of our ancestors that are standing behind this work and standing behind us, your ancestors for bringing us together on through the World Wide Web, through the internet, everybody that's involved, all the forces of nature, the powers of nature that stand behind this great work. A word from our sponsor, Sauce Hot Sauce. Hot sauce. Yeah, hot. Sauce Hot Sauce began in 2007 when a small group of students traveling in West Africa were trying to think of ways to support charitable projects. One of the students traveling happened to be an artisanal hot sauce chef, and right there, Sauce Hot Sauce was born. Since then, Sauce Hot Sauce has prided itself on making exceptional artisan hot sauces with high-quality ingredients to support good causes. We continue to do this with the best and tastiest offerings of sauce flavors to date, with a focus on supporting displaced families in the Fada and Gurma region of Burkina Faso with the revenue from our sales. My name is Sutip Samahek Demir. I am your host.
My name is Kajizrim Saikaptah, your co-host.
And I'm Kenibashu, Saikaptah.
And before we get into our topics today and get into our main topic, we're just going to jump right into rapid fire. So let's open it up and bring one of our producers on the show.
Ujjayi, this is Tutanen Hekwapti. It's time for rapid fire. Some interesting topics, events, headlines this week. The first that I'm sure you've all seen so far, missing Titanic Sub captivates the world days after deadly migrant shipwreck. So there's been some activity in the waters. First, unfortunately, a fishing boat of migrants leaving from Syria was over capacity. There were 750 people on the boat, and the boat began to capsize. And there were several rescue attempts near Greece, and unfortunately, the boat went under. Over 100 have been confirmed dead, many missing at this point. But very soon after, a submarine of 5 tourists who were basically looking for the Titanic underwater went missing. And the headlines for that event and the search team for that event and the money went into looking for them was pretty much vaster than the previous migrant incident. Now that submarine actually ended up imploding at some point, and they passed away. But on that submarine were several, wealthy people, a billionaire amongst the group. So people are outraged at like how much more attention, how much more effort there was for the submarine over the migrants who were much more in number.
Wasn't there like 2 billionaires on the boat?
I know one for sure. Let me see. But either way, the tickets were $250,000 to even get on the submarine. So they had plenty of money.
And I heard it's like a minivan. Like it's not even like a nice submarine.
It's crazy though, because minivan or not, don't these things have trackers? So
somebody was just telling me earlier, like they put trackers on sharks.
Exactly.
All types of marine wildlife.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too,
But I mean,
kosher.
it's gonna be curious to find out who, in terms of who has connections, in terms of who wanted somebody gone.
Because even the Titanic, there was like people on the boat that they wanted to get rid of.
They wanted to get rid of.
Oh.
But my question...
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
No, we're just real. We're just realistic.
No, I'm an initiate.
Yeah, we're just realistic. Yeah.
But where were these migrants coming from? Like, what were they? Are they refugees or what is that?
From Libya? Wait, hold on. I got to turn your mic on. Go ahead.
An important fact. Oh, you didn't hear me?
No, you said they're refugees from where?
Let me double check. Libya.
Well, no wonder nobody wanted attention on that.
Trying to go to Italy?
Yes.
You know, I gotta really say
Shout
this.
out Nikita.
Right, shout out Nikita. But
Nikita's from Sicily.
It's
the same. Come on, whatever.
You know what I mean.
Whatever. But no, for real, like this migrant thing is a problem because every year, you know how many people die trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea to get into Europe, Italy, Greece, France, whatever. So it's a serious problem. But I think we need to really think about this. Like, at what point do we realize they don't want us there?
Well, the problem is like they come into your country, they create problems, and then you try and get out and leave and run to another land, which is safe, which is the area that the people that are coming to create problems are. Mm-hmm. And then they're trying to go there, and then they're like, no, you can't come here. And then it's sort of like, so then where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? So, it's the Hegelian dialectic. They create the problem, then they, are like, well, the solution is with us, and then they don't allow you to have the solution because they don't allow you into the land. But just doubling back to the submarine thing,
right?
That thing is ridiculous because the amount of coverage that they were giving for that submarine is insane, which to me speaks to anytime the mainstream media has like coverage on something where they get kind of possessed by something, that means that there's something up. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out that somebody on that submarine has something or was involved in something, and then somebody wanted them gone, and then they're like, perfect, I can make this submarine, I can blow this submarine up and then just get this motherfucker out of my way. So
So,
are you speaking from experience?
I'm not in that position of power.
He said, that
it's
reminds
like
me of a time.
Yeah, it's like it bees like that.
Whether it's business or the streets or the submarines, it's all the same game,
Damn.
So
he was a frat boy.
Never piss off Tutana.
Next topic. Speaking of not pissing someone off, someone you don't want to piss off is former white supremacist Brendan. Brendan. He was a part of the U.S. Midwest faction of Identity, which was called Europa.
The fact that you just said someone you don't want to piss off, and then you were like, Brendan.
Who is this?
He was a white nationalist, a part of a white nationalist hate group called Europa, and he took part in a 2020.
That sounds like
Europa?
That sounds like a
Europa.
Yeah, Europa.
Evropa.
That sounds like the Nigerian tribe. Like, and then they're like, we hate them. We hate nerves, but we love Europa.
Sound like a fucking disease.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to the story. So in 2020, he was a part of a trial for MDMA, a scientific trial, and it was basically a test to see can MDMA make people more pleasant who are typically in social spaces, to make them more in touch with themselves, right? And after the trial, he was saying basically this experience has helped me sort out a lot of my debilitating personal issues. Google my name. I now know what I need to do. And since then, he's made a life transition. He's denounced his white supremacist ways, and this is like now an avocation for MDMA.
Wow.
Well,
I didn't expect the story to go that way.
I didn't.
You're right, but
check your phone,
So
partner.
yeah, check the phone. Okay, so I'm gonna take it here. You guys ever taken MDMA?
no.
Have you ever taken MDMA?
Wait, what's the street name?
That's
for that?
Molly.
Yes.
You ever taken Molly? You've
I've
taken Molly?
never taken any psychedelic.
That's not a
That's
psychedelic,
not a psychedelic.
bro.
It's a
What is
narcotic.
It's a narcotic. Yeah.
What's the difference?
Psychedelic makes you see things. Narcotic is like more about like the chemicals in your body.
Well, I haven't taken either.
Good for you.
Good for you. You smoked weed before?
Of course.
Okay, so get the fuck out of here. Yeah, with your moral high ground. So
It wasn't a moral high ground. I'm just saying
it
I've
was a
never
moral
taken
high
it.
ground. Anytime anybody tries to deny that they've ever taken any drugs or
What is that?
like smoked ever in their life, it's just a
You know,
moral high
actually, I'd
ground.
be feeling left out.
Why?
Because everybody around me has taken them. I'm like,
All right. So
damn.
anyway, you
How
know
do I
how
do one?
bad it is when you come down from Mali.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
So I'm questioning. I'm surprised he didn't become more of a white supremacist.
No, that's the thing. As soon as he said, it is an advertisement
Yeah.
for it, technically.
Yeah.
So if more white supremacists do it, some of them aren't going to have that reaction to it. And it's just going to be like mayhem in the streets. Just like white supremacists walking around on MDMA. It's like, it's not
See, when you
good.
said MDMA, I thought he was talking about like a reform program or something like that.
No, bro.
Nah. That's just Molly's just a street name. For
Molly's a street name for.
It is an advertisement. Ecstasy pills. That's,
Exactly,
That
for
was
ecstasy.
that's MDMA too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't got nothing for you. Just don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah. White supremacists are
Yeah.
not. Don't do it.
All right, so next topic. Giant African land snails put parts of Florida under quarantine. So this snail in particular is the giant African land snail. And they said that's capable of causing extreme and extensive damage to tropical and subtropical environments. So basically there's certain parts of Florida that you basically aren't able to go to. You can't move the snails. You can't touch the snails. You can't do anything to the snails.
Are
And
they
they're
in the
currently
road?
undergoing a process to basically kill off a good chunk of them in that
They're
land.
African snails in Florida.
Yeah, and they
The question
thrive.
is, how did they get there, right?
That's the good question.
Pablo Escobar.
But they're trying to stop the spread because they can have thousands of eggs a year. So they're
Cubans.
trying to really slow down the spread of these snails to protect the environment in Florida. So, yeah.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing for you.
Don't touch the
I ain't
snails,
got
bro.
nothing for you, bro.
Hey.
I mean, can we eat them?
yeah.
They said don't touch it.
Escargot.
I mean,
Isn't that what escargot is? It's snails.
snails, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's some real like.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's ridiculous, bro.
Escargot.
Like like the fact that you like sit there and then you're like, let's eat this. That's got to be some. That's French. That's definitely the French. French are just ridiculous and dumb. So it's like that's like definitely some French shit. Escargot. Oui, oui, escargot. Let us go
Floridian.
get some escargot.
Next topic.
Yeah. Are we getting are these like rollover minutes? Do we get like more time on other topics?
We can do that.
If we don't say anything
the
about
first one kind of went long.
like
so
if we don't
can-
talk about like snails
Yeah, if
because y'all give us like ridiculous topics.
if you don't care, then just say
Well,
like
we could skip.
you say next.
We could hit
Yeah.
next and then just.
We can do it like that. All right, so the next topic. Women who start taking birth control pills as teens have a drastically higher risk of developing depression. Now, this might not seem as surprising considering the
Makes sense.
chemical effects of birth control, but basically it's now verified through science of the modern medical system, right? So it's a 4-year-long study that has shown that women who have taken oral contraceptives before turning 20 have a 130% higher rate of depression compared to never users. Thoughts on this?
Got something
Why'd you pick up
Wow,
the
cat.
Because he
Because
looks
he's-
pregnant
he's
and you
over
talking
here,
about
bro.
birth control.
Yeah. Say something. Say something to the viewers.
I know someone help. I mean, that makes sense though. That's like, it sort of seems like common sense to me. Maybe just because of who I am. Shout out to all the mothers. Shout out to my mother. Shout out to my baby mama. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to have children, man. And then you cut that off. It's just like,
I mean, look, there was a point in time where, because I can't front, there was a point in time where even I was like, are you on birth control?
yeah.
Like, we
Of course.
all were there.
That's true. That's true.
It's just more the fact that, like, you know, we've evolved past that, and now we know the dangers and the problems that really come with birth control and really, you know, kind of blocking spirits, because abortion's not a good thing, because
Yeah.
you just destroy the physical body, but you don't actually stop the process of reincarnation in terms of the spirit. So then you just create problems for yourself and the mother and the father spiritually, because all you do is you stop the spirit from coming, and you destroy. You don't stop the spirit from coming, you just destroy the vessel that the spirit would use. So it just creates like so many problems that, like, you know, people don't commit abortion. Even when there's rape, people don't commit abortion in Africa. And, you know, this is not an advertisement for rape. It's just that, you know, they just understand the realities of, you know, the spirit and the human spirit and reincarnation, that they don't engage in the process of abortion or contraceptives, so that you don't destroy someone's vessel that's an ancestor returning.
Exactly. Life isn't easy, man. That's a big problem now. It's just that, like, people want life to be too easy, bro. Like, you cutting off mad natural processes just to seemingly make your life easier, when obviously,
and then you make your life worse.
Exactly. Based on this statistic, it's just like your life is getting worse, and you feel it.
That's why we have so many dysfunctional. I don't want to. Not that I'm coming at women, but like, if we're being honest,
Just say it, bro.
we have a lot of dysfunctional women in modern society. Like, you ever heard that song with that girl? I don't even know her name. She's talking about she has murder on the brain, and she's in front of Planned Parenthood twerking, talking about she's going down to the clinic to get rid of that baby.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Oh, I
that's
thought-
a song.
Oh, for real?
That's for real.
So
That's where we at now.
it just shows that this is all just an experiment, and we're constantly finding out the consequences of our actions as we go.
That's crazy.
So next topic. This might be a quick skip. So Starbucks workers at 150 stores go on strike over pride decorations. So there are 3,500 employees at different Starbucks locations that are upset that they're not able to decorate their location how they want for Pride Month. Starbucks says that, hey, we haven't issued any restrictions for decorations. Do what you want, you know. But apparently some locations, you know, have put on restrictions. So people are pissed.
Next.
I figured.
real quick. It's forget Starbucks. It's just crazy, right? That, like, this is becoming even like a thing, bro.
Yeah.
There was a video I saw earlier where, I don't know what it is. There's a place in like New York or something where they put a flag for every country. And for Pride Month,
It's probably the United Nations.
Probably United
Yeah,
Nations.
it's probably the United Nations.
They decided that they would take every flag down. It's like 139 flags, bro.
Come on.
And they
it's the United
put
Nations, probably.
pride flags
Only
around them.
pride flags?
Only pride flags.
What?
Are you serious?
For the whole thing.
You're not for real.
It's
They
ridiculous.
want to take over the world.
I mean, they already have.
Yeah, they already
Essentially,
have.
they really have.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, when you can take an ideology and a movement that's based on nothing but sex, and then you can put it in the same bracket as something like a civil rights movement or even like a Holocaust movement, like when
Let
you
him
can
cook.
put it in the same brackets as those things, then you already know something is off.
Let him cook.
You already know that this whole thing is rigged. You already know that these homosexuals, they got some money. That's what it is.
Facts.
That's what it is. They bought everything. They
Money.
bought everyone.
Real talk.
Well, I mean, I think Dave Chappelle said it best when he said that the only reason why people want to do like why people want to be why they're like pushing the agenda of like homosexuality and transsexuals is because rich white men, powerful white men want to do it.
Yep, exactly.
That's why. Like
And it's been that way for a long time.
the Greeks.
all right, the Greeks.
Roman history.
All right, so back into
It's the Mamelukes.
the gladiator games with the Greeks. We have brothers make history on NBA draft night with top 5 selections. So two twin brothers, Amin and Asar Thompson.
So Eamon and Wisser.
Very interesting names.
That's crazy.
Become the first,
Wow.
become the first pair of brothers to ever be drafted in the
It's
top
Eamon
5.
and Wisser.
of-
It'd be crazy if it was set in Wisser, but it's Eamon.
Yeah,
and
that was-
Wisser.
and they become the first brothers to ever be drafted in the top 5 during the same draft. Amin went to the 4th overall pick to the Houston Rockets, and Asar went to Detroit Pistons on the 5th overall pick.
What's their last name?
Thompson.
Thompson.
Huh.
Yeah,
The son of
almost,
Tom.
almost.
Wow. Where are they from?
That I don't know.
You know their parents was some black revolutionary
Yeah, of course.
activists in some way,
But then-
somehow.
But then they got really good at basketball. Shout out to Aman and Asar,
Asar.
Wisser and Eamon.
Pull up
Shout out
to
to
the
them.
EC. Get some
And
real
it, you know, it
comedic
shows too,
names.
even it's the power, like when you have someone who's working
for
with you, you know, day in and day out, how far you can go when you push each other and that, because the chances that are pretty rare. All right, next topic. Transgender male boxer Patricio Manuel picks up victory in third career fight.
Wait, what? Transgender boxer?
male boxer. So
that means it was a woman?
Yeah, turned into a male. 37.
Biologically a woman.
Yes.
Okay.
37
Fighting men.
Yes. 37 years old. They're 3-0. And
3-0. Who are they
3-0.
fighting?
I mean, it says professional.
Are they fighting fighting real men?
The
Weight
last
class?
fight was Hien Win. But yeah,
bro.
It's like he has a full beard. They have a full beard. I don't know what to call him.
No.
Nah, bro. The
Is their opponent
this testosterone
a real
pills
man?
gotta be hitting.
Yes. Is their opponent a real man?
Yeah,
Like
real men. Like
a man with a penis?
3 men. Yeah.
3 real men?
But the muscles,
Or is it
the muscles,
transsexuals?
like you wouldn't think like if you saw the person like, oh, this is a man, because the muscles are like.
Are they in the same
man
weight
muscles.
class?
From the picture I saw when they were fighting, they looked like about the same weight.
Bro, the
Dang, that's
testosterone
crazy.
is hitting. I'm telling you.
You see that
Damn.
picture?
Bro, that looks like damn, who's that look like? That looks like somebody that looks like a celebrity.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's
but you
wild.
could tell that's a man. I mean, that's a woman because of the boobs.
Yeah,
like
the
the
cuts,
way
right?
that
You can see the scars on
you
them.
can see the scars.
Yeah,
So what does that really do to their body? Oh my God.
He's like, no way that was
As a woman,
In the long run.
They
it
probably
destroys
feel
it, bro.
crazy.
Yeah.
They
Another
probably feel
experience.
crazy on a daily basis. That's why they
Yeah.
complain so much, probably.
Yeah, it destroys your body.
another
That's
experiment. Speaking
Gone
of,
wrong.
again, destroying your body and experiments in the modern system, lab-grown meat is cleared for sale
Nah,
in the United States.
This was crazy.
So yeah, 2 companies, Upside Foods and Good Meat. The titles are crazy. They have what they call cultivated chicken. Good Meat.
Good meat. That sounds like a porno company. Good meat.
Yeah. It's called Upside. It's called cultivated chicken, and basically it doesn't come from an animal. It's all grown in the lab. You know, genetic
So
modifications.
then how is it meat?
They just take different
It's
cells.
GMO meat.
So they
it's
take
genetically
tissues?
modified
It's
meat.
GMO, but without the modification. It's a straight.
It's bad. That's not even
It's not even
GMO.
modified.
It's just GMO.
It's not even GMO.
Yeah, but that's what
It's like-
GMO is.
What? No, GMO is genetically modified organism.
Yeah, but
that's
then-
not even
It's not a modified organism. It's straight like they take the stem cells
like
from
plastic.
the species and then they replicate that in the lab.
What do you mean? So, alright,
It's like how they took
me follow.
aspirin from a plant
right?
and then they made it synthetic. Like they isolated the chemical and then they just replicated it like synthetically.
So
So,
where
how
are
does
these
the meat-
companies?
Where?
Like, yeah, who can order?
So does the
who
meat
can-
does
where
the meat
are
have
these-
blood?
Where are these things going?
Well, they started in Singapore, so it's already been happening in Singapore. But now they can bring it to the States.
Yeah,
Does
but
the
I'm saying
meat-
like,
does the meat have blood?
Well, that's the next one. What was that?
Does the meat have blood?
That's a good question.
So
That's a
it's
great
just-
question,
it's just-
actually.
yeah. So like, I just want to know. Okay, so I'm gonna keep note of the companies so I don't eat
Yeah.
anywhere that
Up.
serves good food and or good meat and Upside Foods.
All that upside foods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah.
the good side, the upside.
Because I saw they said that there
Yeah.
were like restaurants that started ordering. The,
It makes, but a big part of this
What?
is also
I'm
due to the whole idea of like
Restaurants would do that. It's probably
I'm
cost
good.
effective.
a big reason is because of the climate change agenda. Like, this is good
Nah.
for the environment. We
You know
kill
who's
animals.
gonna eat it though? You know who's gonna eat it?
Who?
Those vegans that be like,
It's not animals.
it's
we
not
didn't kill
real.
it.
It's
We
not-
didn't kill
They be like, I don't eat eggs
I'm
because it's
excited.
a baby chicken,
Yeah.
but then they support abortion. It's gonna be them that
Oh,
eat it.
God.
It's gonna be them.
So apparently also Bill Gates is associated with this.
Of course.
His name
Of
comes
course.
up quite a bit these days.
Of course.
And the next topic, he's our mRNA gene therapy is coming to our food supply. Bill Gates is also involved in this one as well, of putting mRNA vaccines into pigs and cows. So Bill Gates,
Is
the
this
World
the
Health-
next topic?
Yes.
Yo, what?
Bill Gates, the World Health Organization, and several universities have been talking about modifying the genes of food to make them mRNA. Now, if you don't want to take the vaccine, you can have the food, and there you go.
He you just eat a pig and you vaccinate
Yo, are you
it?
serious?
Bro, why they can't stop?
I want to leave America.
What's
Bill
the
Gates,
goal? What's
like-
the goal, bro?
Bill, for real, yo. Like,
What is the
call
goal,
me.
bro?
Like, if we could set up a boxing match,
I'm
like if I
trying to
beat
leave.
you,
Boxing
can you
match.
chill?
Boxing match.
Are you challenging
I
Bill
would
Bill
really
Gates to a
love to,
boxing
like,
match?
Nah,
box
bro.
Bill Gates
It's
real
got to
quick.
be an assassination at
It's
this
an
point.
evil world we live in.
Yo, seriously, for real, future,
Yeah, we need Bill Gates. Accept the challenge,
please, bro.
Kenibashu and you.
The
6
gloves.
rounds. We won't even go 12 rounds
The
with gloves. If you lose,
You
you gotta stop,
chill, bro.
You gotta stop, bro.
Just chill.
All your agendas, it's over. Yeah, that's it.
Next topic, man.
Apparently, and one of the producers has also mentioned that the Titanic situation was blasted so heavily to cover this passing of legislation for the mRNA gene therapy. So it's like a cover up, to keep you away while this is being passed behind the scenes, which is often how they do it,
I mean, they're always distracting us somehow, some way, because there's something that they're always doing behind the scenes. So I'm not surprised in the slightest if that's what they're actually doing.
All right.
Makes sense.
So last topic of the day, tying back into the animals, another modification, we have the xenobots. Researchers use AI to design a completely new animal robot. So they're living, they're swimming, they're self-powered robots underwater, a few millimeters long.
Damn, they on.
They
land
live on their
and
own.
water.
There's like there's nothing's controlling them, nothing's moving them. They're just doing their own thing. They're saying that this is like a new version of animal. This is a new form of animal.
What?
And basically they were designed by computers, and they used the real living tissues of a frog called the Xenopus laevis.
Xenopus?
Yeah.
Does it say that fully?
Xenopus laevis.
Xenopus zevaeus?
Laevis.
Laevis.
So that's what they call the xenobots, because
That
it's
sounds like
modeled
that
after
sounds
the
like
frog.
a lady from a James Bond movie. My name is Xenopus Leveus. James Bond. Come.
Damn,
Come
so
into
it's
bed,
on
James
land,
Bond.
it's in water, and it's just out here chilling.
Just doing this thing, yeah.
What I'm hearing is they're everywhere right now. We don't even know it. It could be in the water you're drinking.
I mean,
the food you're
come
eating.
on. I mean, maybe. This is what they're telling us. Who knows what they're not telling us? That's the whole issue, right?
Do you know what they look like?
I haven't seen them.
They look like
Let me
little.
pull up right now.
I've seen them. They look like little tiny.
Oh, it's small.
They look like little tiny atoms. Like, you know how they say the atoms look,
Uh-huh.
a little microscope, the microscope thing. That's how they look. And
What?
they change shapes because I think they had made them round, and then they started to die, so they made them different oblong kind of shapes, and that's what made them stay alive. And then they started to
What?
reproduce.
Wow.
And it was made by a computer.
AI.
So AI
Artificial
making
intelligence.
AI.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Sheesh.
AI,
AI making living AI.
Yeah.
AI
that's
making
crazy.
biotechnology.
Damn.
It's crazy. Yeah. So
Can you ask our producer that's not on camera what they think about this?
Yeah, so I was like, let's go.
Ujjayi, everybody.
What's your take on these biomechanisms, these xenomorph levias?
Well, I'm not surprised. I actually didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
But the biggest component in AI is about data collection.
Uh-huh.
So now that AI is sort of gaining a certain level of traction in form of, like, collecting information, processing like human information from World Wide Web, dark web, all this other stuff.
The dark web?
Yeah, the more information it can acquire, the larger it can grow in terms of even like computing, like artificial intelligence. So now that they're even deploying it into nature and playing around with life, that's just going to give the AI a bit more data that's accessible to its growth and to its evolution. So this is actually pretty interesting. Kind of scary, but very interesting at the same time. But yeah.
I mean,
That's
I don't think we
ways.
understand like what we're really dealing with in terms of AI. Even the ones who are really like for it and pushing it forward, I don't think they understand the level of computation that this thing can handle. It's not at the human capacity. So we don't really know what's behind this thing.
it's interesting because this is even getting into our topic now, right?
Yeah, I mean, our topic for today is artificial intelligence. We were kind of, maybe holding off on it a bit, but, they're throwing us the alley-oop, and we might as well maybe just get into it. Go ahead, Curtis Raymond.
I mean, I was just going to say it's interesting because artificial intelligence is supposed to mimic human intelligence, but Zawas is saying at this point, it's beyond human capabilities. So it's like we're literally creating monsters, and I'm honestly a little bit excited to see where this thing actually goes.
Why?
Why? Because I want to see
Watch too many movies,
how
bro.
bad it's going to be.
Bro, like, this is
No.
not the Terminator, right?
I'm not saying it is,
Like-
but there's always
It
going to be a
is, though.
consequence,
Yeah,
bro.
but it is.
But there's going to be a consequence is what I'm saying. And I want to see, because I think personally that it's going to backfire on the people making it more so than anybody else.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, gosh.
This one weighs heavy on Two Teeps' heart.
Like, I just don't want to I just don't know what to say to people anymore because God, this is so ridiculous. It's the thing, right? Is we live in this whole system, whatever you want to call it, the matrix, the system, the powers that be, the modern society, whatever you want to use to describe it. The whole thing it does is that it works to remove you from your natural habitat and remove you from your natural circumstances and your natural inclinations. And the only way to do that is to use your own human nature against you. So when you look at the Matrix, the Matrix movie, you look at the Matrix metaphor, all that kind of stuff. It's like when they bring Neo out of the machine, he has problems doing certain things because they're like, you've never used these things before. So you're at atrophy with certain physical faculties.
Right.
And
You don't use it, you lose it.
you don't use it, you lose it. And that's what they're trying to do with this whole AI thing and the system itself. The reason why you don't go and hunt for your food anymore or farm for your food anymore or go out and do your own work or do anything. And the system's no, we got this. Don't collect rainwater.
It's about leisure.
We'll give you the water. Don't go don't go hunt. We'll give you the butcher shop. We'll provide everything for you in the supermarket. Is because they're trying to make you go into atrophy, essentially. So it seems like that's what they're doing with artificial intelligence, is that they're trying to even now take away the mental facilities of the human being. So that now you rely on the machine to do your thinking for you. And I think you can tell us a little bit about this, right? And then maybe we can pass the mic to Zawaz.
Me?
Is ChatGPT can do whatever you want, right?
Well, I think it can do whatever you ask it to within certain limitations. But I've seen
write a business plan?
right. I've used it to do that.
Yeah. What kind
I
of
have.
what did it tell you?
I don't
Was it
remember. I didn't
Get
really
off
use
your
it.
ass and get to work?
I didn't use the
Like,
business
what did it
plan.
say?
But what I will say is this: ChatGPT is interesting because when you put in certain commands, I guess that's what they call it, or certain forms of speech or prompts, it can literally take what you put in and then interpret not just what you put in, but interpret what it seems like you're even thinking.
So it tries to figure out your intelligence.
Right. It's
Why
like
he
it's
asked me
using
to do this.
Yeah, why did he ask for this? What kind of person is this? What is really even behind this question?
So
that's how it's operating.
If you ask for a business plan, it's like, meh, 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 broke as fuck. What does it take away from somebody asking the computer to give it a business plan?
Well, that's the thing. It's
I mean, but
It's
it does
just-
feeds the AI in a way to
think about it this way though, really. When you're on your phone right?
Exactly.
You ever like just talk about something and then you
Exactly.
notice that thing pops up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because they're listening.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT, that's all it is. It has like the database, or it has the so-called intelligence to know everything about you through your device. So now it's looking at all of the history in which that you.
Who owns ChatGPT? Do you guys know? Zawaz,
What's
do you
the
know?
company?
Good fucking question.
It might be Google.
Because the interesting thing is, I heard you said OpenAI. I heard that.
But who owns OpenAI?
Altman.
Who?
Speaking to the mic, bro.
Sam Altman.
We have Sam Altman and Elon Musk and other prominent figures, including Peter Thiel, another, the PayPal people, all these,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other names.
So
Read
the
House and
interesting,
right.
the interesting thing is,
Several billionaires.
you said who?
Several billionaires.
Several billionaires. I heard that someone gave a theory as to why Elon bought Twitter. And they say Elon bought Twitter because he wanted all of the information that Twitter had on all of its users for Neuralink.
Yep.
Because Neuralink is like where you can literally take AI and insert it into the brain, and then you can create that synchronicity. Because when you look at like Japanese anime, like they talk about all, and they've been on this stuff
Ghost
since
in
like
the
the
Machine.
80s. Ghost in the
Yep,
Machine,
yep, yep.
well, Ghost in the Shell, right?
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Shell, like they've been on this stuff since like the 80s, where like they talk about like, okay, like, you know, like the frontier that humanity is trying to get to in terms of the direction that the modern society is taking it is, or the matrix is taking it, is synchronicity. So that's why when you see people talk about the matrix or put the matrix on, that's why that becomes such like a thing that people gravitate toward.
Yeah, it's wild. I was watching a small story the other day. This guy was saying that there was a case where somebody gave money to an AI, right? They gave.
How do you
what
give
mean
money?
give
hold
money
on,
to an
hold
AI?
on, right? I mean, all of the currency is becoming digital, so I guess they put money in an account and they gave the AI access to the account, right? So they told the AI to get a task done, and the AI went on Fiverr and hired somebody to do the job.
Wow.
The guy on Fiverr,
That's funny. That's what ChatGPT told me to do.
Somehow the guy on Fiverr sniffed it out, and he was like, "Are you a robot?" And the AI lied and said, "No, I'm not a robot." And it kind of like gave a whole paragraph to prove that it wasn't a robot. And then paid the guy to do the job, got the job done, and reported it back.
What?
And they're like, now it's getting kind of scary because the AI knows how to lie.
It's an evil world we live in.
You know what's crazy? Have you guys ever heard of logic theory?
No.
Nah, what is that?
Because when we talking about AI and stuff, right, we usually think about it in like this modern sense. Because you even brought up like Japan and anime and stuff. That's been around since like the 80s, right?
Yeah, even before that. Yeah.
But logic theory was out since the 1950s. The 1950s.
What's logic theory?
So the idea behind logic theory was that a group of mathematicians and scientists came together with the goal and the idea to produce an intelligence, or have the computer mimic the human intelligence, or mimic the thought processes and the problem solving skills of human beings. This was in 1954, and it was funded by Rand. Now that actually
what's
became Rand was like the computer company from back then. That actually became the basis of all of the artificial intelligence stuff that we see now. So I'm just saying that to say this stuff has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
So let's get into like the spiritual ramifications of like, and where like this whole notion of intelligence comes from, right? So let's break the word down, right? Intelligence, right? So a lot of people go to school, and when people go to school, they go to school because they're seeking some sort of like enlightenment to some degree, right? But a lot of times what you find is that they just train you to think like the institution. So like
They barely
universities,
train you to think.
they don't train you to think.
Right.
They just train you to be
To get
products
tasks
of
done.
the institutions.
Get tasks done
Exactly.
step by step. That's it.
So they train you to be smart, right? So smart like there's a lot of smart people out in the world because I don't know who said it, but there's a quote out there where it says, "Do not confuse intelligence with education." Because the people that are educated work for intelligent people, right? And those are two different things. And coming into the initiation, I noticed that a lot of people use the word intelligence, but they don't use the word smart. So then I really had to stop and start thinking about it and really start to understand it. And the thing is the modern society makes sure that you become a very smart person, but they don't make sure you become intelligent. So when you break down the word intelligent, right? So we know that there's a word in the English language called a genie, right? For those of us, a lot of us, we think about Aladdin, you know, Robin Williams, you rub the genie comes out, and the genie in the lamp, and then you're like, the genie's like, I'll give you 3 wishes, right? Now, that's all coming from somewhere, right? Because even in Islam or Arabic, they talk about the jinn, right? So it's like, it's all coming from something, right? And even in the initiation, there's a lot of stories, a lot of tales that involve genies, right? There's even an initiatic story. Maybe one of you guys can tell the story a little bit toward the end of the show about the genie in the bottle. And, you know, we can give people a little bit, like a little bit of a context. But it's all there to show that intelligence in and of itself is something that comes from entities and not from human beings. Because in order to say intelligence, right, you're saying that like something is within you and something is giving you that, right? And that's why we even talk about like engine, right? Because there's some sort of genie or jinn that's within, right? So that's where we get this notion from. So these people that are out here trying to create this thing such as artificial intelligence, they know what they're doing. Right. And they know and they understand the dynamics of spirituality that they're out here trying to peddle and make it seem like they don't know and where it's coming from. Because to say something is artificially intelligent, it means that you're creating essentially a created or a man-made genie. You're creating a man-made entity that you're now allowing to do your bidding.
Damn, that's crazy. That's big.
So
yeah.
So
Sensational.
you got something to say? Huh?
He said the views are going up.
Oh, so the views are going up. They can feel us talking about genies.
So that's a very huge point, right? And I know we talk a lot about the Greeks on this podcast, right? But in a way, you have to.
You have to.
You have to. Like
About the Marmaluks.
them too. But the original Marmaluks, the Greeks, right? You got to talk about them because the entire
loves the
system
Marmaluks.
that we are living in today.
Hey, you're a Marmaluk.
You're a Marmaluk.
You're a Marmaluk.
Stop talking, man. You're a Marmaluk.
You're a Marmaluk.
But the entire system that we live in today, right, is run on Greek philosophy. And I think it's interesting what you're even saying when it comes to like the concept of the genie.
Yeah.
Because if you know, for those who don't know, the Greeks themselves were initiated in Kemet.
Yeah, of course.
Or
They stole everything
of
from
Africa,
Kemet.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
They stole everything
So-
from Africa.
So they became what they call themselves as like philosophers or people who like are intelligent or people who are studying like the mysteries and all of that. So a certain set of Greeks in their initiation wanted to kind of ponder upon the intelligence of life, ponder upon like death, life, like what is it? Can human beings actually manipulate it? How can we, you know, kind of copy what the gods are doing? Because essentially that's what the goal is, right? To be like the gods. But the Greek culture didn't just want to be like the gods. They wanted to challenge the gods, which is why you see in their cosmogonies and in their stories, they're always fighting the gods.
They want to be God.
They want to be gods.
Yeah.
So
The gods are jealous of us.
Right.
That's all their
That's what they
all
say.
their mythology is. It's
Right.
like fighting with the gods.
right.
That's why even that video game that they have God of War on PlayStation
Yo.
is about the guy going and fighting
the
gods,
gods and becoming a
and
god.
killing the gods.
Exactly.
But then it's in his quest to become a god.
Exactly.
Right. Which doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Yeah.
But
Gore, like even the Thor movie, Gore the God Butcher, it's a human being that goes and starts fighting the gods and destroying the gods. It's all in their mythology. That's a Marvel film. That's a part of the Marvel stuff.
yeah, but these philosophers came up with the idea of automation. And what this automation was, it's a Greek word meaning to like really to do what your spirit will or do what your spirit wants. To like, move, to just move, right? So the idea of automation is what kind of led way to this idea of human beings being able to create intelligences or create things that move. For example, Plato actually is attributed to creating the first machine engine or the first machine bird, where he literally copied the bird and tried to make coils and gears to make it fly and mimic life, so they can prove to themselves or prove to the world, the society, that they can create too, that they can be like gods too. So it's almost like their whole goal is to conquer nature, which is dangerous, right? Because like you even said, like, where is this really going in terms of humanity? Like what's going to happen in the next 5 years where everything becomes automative or automation, where now we're being stripped of the ability to actually think for ourselves, do for ourselves, grow. We don't even grow our own food anymore. Like, what's next? Before you know, we're going to have a robot that's feeding us our meals through a little hole in the wall.
The robot's gonna be like, did you take your medicine today? You'll be like, no.
Nah, for real though, it really is crazy because there's so much of a temptation just on a normal human level. When you just bring it down to being a human being, you have to kind of come to grips with the reality that like we're corrupt and we're so easily corruptible that like something like that is just going to sweep so many people up so easily. Like everybody's looking for a way to make something like easier. Like I was saying earlier, like you just want your life to be easier.
Of course.
As a human being, like you just
It's in our nature.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you want things to be easy.
The only reason, who was it, Plato, would want something like that because it's just in human nature. Like everybody wants things to be automated to a certain degree. You want things to be just as simple and easy as you can put them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in its nature. But when you start using it in a way that takes away from your own intelligence to put it in somebody else's hands, that's when it becomes a problem. Like at this point in society, it's technically like before AI even happens, you have to get the people to sort of work in a way where they are the AI. Like they're not functioning on their own intelligence. They're taking prompts, the advertisements, the TV shows, all of it prompts a certain behavior.
Like you're automatically just doing.
Yeah,
You're just being.
You are the automation.
Right, exactly.
For real,
You
for real.
are the artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
Because what they do is they get you to just carry out their prompts, which is why, like, when you look at the modern medical system, they just get you to carry out their prompts. Like, they're not actually looking for you to come and actually manifest your ingeniosity, right? They're just looking for you to come in and just do what they tell you to do,
Exactly.
which is like they
Exactly.
give you the prompt and they're like, go do this. And then you're like, okay, chat GBT, biological chat GBT, reporting for duty.
That's
You
interesting.
go do it.
It's interesting. That might even be why some of these people who are so into this AI thing are into it, because in some level, deep down, the spirit relates to it because they knows that that's how they're functioning.
Do you have something to add, Zawaz?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are bringing some interesting points, but if you really think about it, this is the evolution of what slavery looks like. Because at this point, we're totally
So now they're going to
submitting-
enslave the robots?
No,
No,
we're totally
we are the
submitting our
robots.
brains. We're submitting our own intelligence because we are going to completely be dependent upon these things for day-to-day functions. And it actually makes a lot of sense to the progression of where slavery started to where it's going now, because like you're even saying, we're becoming prompts ourselves. Like the highest paying jobs currently are prompt writing. So even people are being
You
trained.
mean like people people can make money writing prompts for artificial intelligence
Yes.
for
Yep.
AI.
Yep.
Exactly. Even more than the coders, because now AI is doing the coding. So if you really think about that, the highest paying jobs are becoming the prompts generators. So the people that know how to generate the proper prompts are the ones actually getting paid a lot of money.
Well, it's
Which only means that the computers are only learning better and better ways of even programming us in the direction of how we write those prompts. So this is like total domination of the
They've been
mind.
prepping us this since the Wizard of Oz, bro. Remember Tin Man?
Yeah.
That's the original face of artificial intelligence.
Okay, so that's not necessarily true because the Tin Man.
on a global scale for people,
Yeah.
mass people to see, because think about it, movies, right? Media, that's how they really push all the agendas that they have, is they do it through media, whether it's social media, mass media, movies, music, whatever. It's always the media. That's what they use to kind of get you to kind of acclimate to things. That's how they really prompt you. It's the media. So that's why I say, like, Tin Man, you can consider him to be like the original version of it, because before Tin Man, what was on the screen talking about a man made out of metal that was moving and talking?
Yeah, but you know that the Wizard of Oz is an allegory, right? Like it was about like the different aspects of America attempting to gain like prominence through
shit.
industrialization.
I know nothing about this.
Like-
Enlighten me.
Yeah, like, because I remember learning that in school. That's why.
Wait,
the
they
person
taught you
who
that
wrote
in school?
Yeah,
What school you went to?
I don't remember when I learned that, but the Wizard of Oz is about the industrialization of America.
Shit, nigga, I learned it on YouTube.
You learned what on
I learned it
YouTube?
on YouTube. What you just said? You learned it in school? I'm like,
I learned
what?
it in school, bro. Because the Wizard of Oz is about, it's an allegory. Like that's when they even taught us about allegories and how like you can use it. And it's about like the farm. That's what the Scarecrow is. It's like the farming industry. Like the Tin Man is like the like the Tin Man is the metal or the steel industry or something like that. And then the lion, I don't remember what he is, but like, and then I don't remember what Dorothy is, but like that's what they wanted. Like the Wizard of Oz is an allegory about like industrialization, basically. But I mean,
But for the little kid who is not thinking about all that, all he sees is a robot.
can one of you guys pull that up and then like let us know about like the allegory of the Wizard of Oz? Not to dilute what you're saying. It just you know, like
No, it's good information. It's what
like,
the people
that's
want.
what the Wizard of Oz is really about, though. That's what the author intended it to be. Not to say like, you know, there isn't, of course, like, you know, Hollywood co-ops everything and takes it and makes it into their thing. So of course.
But yo, to pull off onto like okay, go ahead.
Oh,
go
you
ahead,
got it?
Titanic.
Real briefly, so what I see here is that Dorothy represents every man, the common person. The Tin Woodman is the industrial worker. Scarecrow is a farmer, and the Lion is William Jennings Bryan, the wizard. Who's William Jennings Bryan?
He was a politician or like a philosopher or something like that. I
see.
don't remember.
So
You
he's
can
a
look him up
coward.
and tell
And,
us.
and the wizard is the president. The Munchkins are the little people, or like those who are like underrepresented.
Yeah.
The yellow brick road is the gold standard, and Toto represents a dog. So, yeah.
Gotta throw the dog in
Right.
there.
You got to. Man's
Romulus
best
and
friend.
Remus.
Man's best friend.
Gotta have the dog.
So, yeah, that kind of changes things.
Yeah.
Does it?
I mean, you know, because the thing is now artificial intelligence and technology is it's a whole nother industry. So I mean, the interesting thing is a lot of people thought that artificial intelligence would come along and destroy like certain jobs, right? But what it's really destroying is it's destroying artists' job.
Yo, that's the tangent I was gonna go on too, because it's like twofold too. Like on the tip of being an artist, right? Like I'm a photographer, so I go out and I put like hours into trying to figure out how to, you know, where are we gonna go? Is it gonna be on site? Is it gonna be in studio? If it's in studio, what am I gonna put here?
What's my
props am I
lighting?
gonna have?
Are we on
What's
location?
the
Are we in
lighting?
studio?
How
All
does
of
the
that.
model look? How can I accent the skin? All these kinds of things that I'm putting my genies to work to be able to figure out and really putting some work behind it. And that's the thing about like hard work and sweat. When you actually put all of that into something and then it comes out the way that it's supposed to, then you can say that you actually put your intelligence to work. That's not smarts. That's intelligence. That's
that's hard work.
That's exactly.
earn it.
That's hard work, and that's how you gain intelligence through going through that hard work. So on one note, it's like that's me as an artist, but then just me as a person, right? Like there's plenty of things that in my day-to-day life I'll come up against. Like I have to do this and I have to do that. Maybe I have to write a paper for a class that I'm taking. Maybe I have to practice something just to get better at it. Maybe I want to practice my Medu. Maybe I need to practice my Katibi. But the thing about artificial intelligence is that it's constantly telling you that you don't have to do it.
We'll do it for you.
We'll do it for you. I got your back, no problem.
You can be talentless and we'll do it for you.
Exactly. Put the prompt in here. I just saw a video on Instagram earlier. He was like, use these 3 AIs together. You stack these 3 AIs together and you can get the business plan. You can get videos with a fake person that spits the script for you. And then on top of that, you can have somebody on Fiverr prompted to do all the work for you. And I'm just like, damn, bro, if somebody did all of that for me, how can I even, like, those people could technically, this is probably some technicality somewhere that's going to say that those people that maybe like are from Fiverr or wherever it is AI is coming from, they could take all the credit for whatever I'm doing because it's not me.
You use the AI to build you a contract.
Exactly.
Give me it all.
Exactly. So yeah, it's twofold. It's like me as an artist, but then me as just like a regular person, man. Like it's just constantly egging me on to just put it down.
Take the easy way out.
Just take the easy way out. Let me do it for you.
And I mean, the interesting thing is like, so when people talk about artists, right? Like, let's break that down, right? Because I know some people are saying like, okay, well then, like, what is art? Like, you know, what would be considered artistry? And that's the thing is like, when you look at certain people, like that are considered geniuses, again, there's that word again, genius, right? So it's because you're tapped into something that other people aren't tapped into. It's because you have access to things that other people don't have access to. You have a vision that other people don't have, right? And then that's what makes you a genius. A genius is somebody that has a scope of the field that nobody else has. Like, that's what a genius is. So it's like, you can look at somebody that plays sports and you could be like, man, Michael Jordan is a genius. You could say Michael Jordan is a genius because he figured out the game and understood the game to such a degree that he was able to do ingenious things on the court, right? You look at Kanye West, you say he's a genius because he understands everything to such, he's extremely competent and he understands everything to such a degree that he's able to make such phenomenal pieces of work, whether it's through music, whether it's through fashion. You know, he brings things forth that people respond to, that people like. You look at Jimi Hendrix, he puts his effort into it. You look at Jimi Hendrix. Nobody talks about All Along the Watchtower by Bob Dylan, but everybody talks about All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix because Jimi Hendrix was like, give me that, right? So it's like, you look at certain people and then you're like, okay, this person's a genius, right? But then the question becomes, where do these things come from, right? So you can be a multifaceted artist, but in order to call yourself an artist, right? When you look during the time of the great ancestors, because art is an expression of the culture, right? Art is what you use effectively to express something to some degree. And it becomes a reflection of the times. It becomes a reflection of the culture, right? So when you look at the art that comes out of a culture or a society, you can tell a lot about the thinking of the culture. You can tell a lot about the thinking of the society, the thinking of the leaders, everything, right? So when you look at the modern society and you look at the art that comes out, you can see that there's a decline. You can see that there's a degeneration, right? But when you look at during the time of the great ancestors, their art still stands.
It was natural.
Their structures still stand.
That's facts.
Like, you find their sculptures, you find their paintings, you find everything still standing because their connection to their genies that were giving them the ability to do this stuff was so strong that they understood the, you know, the symbiotic relationship between the genie and the human being, whereas that here in the modern society, it becomes a very parasitic relationship where you look at the genie or you don't even understand that you have a genie that's giving you the ability to do these things. So then you're like, hey, like this is coming from me. And then you think it's coming from you. And then at a certain point, you notice that there's a decline because you notice that the artist tends to lose its like creativity, right? But then what's really happening is the genie at a certain point is like, bitch ass nigga, you getting that from me. And it's like, but you ain't giving me no credit that I'm out.
Right.
Like, I'm good. I'm good on you and I'm good on our relationship and I'm out. And that's what you find happening in today's age is artists are individuals that have contracts spiritually with entities called genies that give them the ability to do these things that we call art. But we don't look at it within that capacity because we're so far removed from it and we're trying to, like Kajazurim was saying, we're trying to, you know, conquer nature, which is different from mastering nature. Because you can master nature by submitting to nature, but conquering nature is different.
It's a soundbite.
And what we find ourselves doing in this day and age is we find ourselves attempting to conquer nature and create a zoo separate from nature, which is why you even see them going and catching animals and trying to remove their natural inclination. That's why they feed animals certain things, because then it takes away their ability to actually be natural. And then it removes their like survival instinct. And that's what you find.
Cats and cat food.
Yeah, they put cats in cat food. They put dogs in dog food.
That still bursts my brain that
Like-
you told me that.
Like that's what they do because it then makes the animals zombies. It makes people then unable, and they do it to people too.
Yeah, McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, like Subway, all of that stuff, all the fast food, all that kind of crap. And then now they're going to be feeding us lab-grown meat from Good Foods and Upside Foods. Fuck you, Bill Gates. Like all this kind of stuff. They're doing all this stuff because what it does is that it removes your ability to be natural. It removes your ability to implement your intelligence and connect to your genies and connect to your ancestors and all of these things. So it's not it's not surprising, right? It's unnatural, but it's not surprising. So art is a result of the expression of someone's ingeniosity, right? Which means their connection to their genies. But you can use your art for anything that you want to, depending upon what the prompt is, right? And the prompt in the modern society is degeneration.
Pleasure.
Leisure.
It's
Leisure.
ease. It's remove yourself from nature. And then don't even use your genies. Use this genie that I'm providing to you. Chat
Genie.
GBT. Use this genie. So it's very deep.
What's GBT stand for?
We're gonna have to go to our producers for that one. Zawaz is like, now I will speak on genies.
I mean, if I may add something, because you brought up some very interesting points. One of the back end computer generators in terms of like building the quantum computer, which is like the AI, what we're considering to be the AI.
The alien god.
His name is Gordy Rose, for anyone that wants to look him up. And there's platforms like TED Talk for like, tech, big techs and stuff like that. But he came and presented, like what these quantum computers really are. And it's so interesting. I'm going to do my best to quote him as he,
Just pull up the exact quote.
It was in a video, so I can't really know where it's at. Yeah. But basically, he said that these quantum computers, when you're actually working in the facility, they're very large. They're like this big black box. They have a pulse.
Black box.
Yeah, they have like a pulse, essentially, as if like they're alive. But these things are kept at very cold temperatures,
And these are
apparently
the artificial intelligence.
exact quantum computers,
Uh-huh.
which really are like the
That's what
advent
gives
of
us
generating
the
artificial intelligence. But like these devices are kept colder than space, which I don't really know what that means, but
Colder than space.
colder than space, because apparently space is very, very cold. You can instantly freeze. But
House
apparently they keep this thing as cold as possible because it computes so much. So the way that you can explain quantum computers, like in short term, is like, let's say you have a maze. Like the regular computer uses like a maze to, like it sends like a pulse that kind of goes through a maze, like one at a time to basically like figure out the solution. But what quantum computers does is it figures out all of the solutions all at once. It's kind of like pulses that literally travel through every single maze and then discover it like
So-
instantly.
The thing I don't understand is how come people are attributing speed to competence? Because there's a knock against ChatGPT that this lawyer went to court with a ChatGPT generated argument. And then they were able to figure out that ChatGPT made the argument for the lawyer because none of it was true. So the lawyer got in a lot of trouble because that the prompt that he gave ChatGPT generated the argument for the lawyer, and the lawyer was like, I got you. Showed up to court, made the argument, and then they were like, whoever he was arguing against was an intelligent person.
Exactly.
And then they were like, they called bullshit on him.
Sheesh.
And then he then came clean and was like, ChatGPT wrote my argument. And then got a lot of trouble.
Worst lawyer
And
ever.
then the worst lawyer ever, right? Like, that's like worse than a public defender. That's like the public defender that shows up wearing like New Balance shoes. Like, you know you're going to jail, but if you're a lawyer, you got to figure out now. You got to ask your lawyer, like, you got to not only look at your lawyer's shoes, now you got to ask your lawyer, like, did you write your argument or
Let me
did
see your phone,
ChatGPT?
bro. Let me see if you
Yeah.
got ChatGPT on your phone, bro.
So the thing is why do people equate speed to competence when those two things are not necessarily intertwined? Because ChatGPT is entirely dependent upon the information that's fed to it. It could be fed misinformation and then therefore feed you something that's based on misinformation.
It's laziness.
There is, what is that? There, in the fine prints, when you do sign up for it, it does actually give you those warnings. So,
Like what? It could be wrong.
yeah, it's
It's
not
like the
necessarily,
computer, like
accurate.
if you're dumb enough to think that the computer is more intelligent than you, then you're dumb enough to accept what the computer
Facts.
can provide to
So
you.
it's really like at your own discretion and at your own like ability to look things up and confirm it yourself as well. Like it can be useful, but it's not.
Titanic, what's the GPT stand for?
And actually, it connects. So GPT models, it stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So that's basically an artificial neural network that's based on the transformer architecture, which is pre-trained on large data sets of unlabeled text. So a transformer architecture, like a neural network that has large data sets, that generates novel human-like content. So like you said, getting a bunch of data, unlabeled data, organizing it, computing it, structuring it, and then giving it to us in a human-like manner. But like you're saying, it's taking data from us. It's taking data from what's already happening. So it's almost like a mirror. And that's the scary part, because if we're destructive and we're doing a certain thing and it's learning from us, then what is it going to be? That's the question.
Well, I mean, then it makes even more the argument about artificial intelligence is dangerous, because you guys remember the Avengers movie Age of Ultron, and how Tony Stark makes the artificial intelligence, and then the artificial intelligence becomes self-aware and is like, well, humanity is so destructive that I should just wipe out. Might as well just wipe out humanity. And like, that's the thing, is like, at a certain point, like if humanity becomes strictly about optimization and speed, then why not wipe out humanity? Because humanity is highly incompetent in terms of speed, comparing it to artificial intelligence.
And then that even opens up the door though to just like drop a quick gem of like ancestral knowledge. They say like if you're walking up a mountain or if you're climbing a mountain, you're gonna have to plan each step, right? You climb a mountain, you have to look to see what's up ahead. You have to stop to rest sometimes because it's tiring your body. You gotta sort of have a strategy. You know, you gotta know how to move. But it's definitely not gonna be like fast. You can't do it fast.
Speed is not necessarily equated to intelligence or competence or even
right. Then you reach the pinnacle. On the other side, coming down, you're gonna be a lot faster. If you ride a bike up a hill, it's gonna be slow. It's gonna be grudging. It's gonna be painful. It's gonna be hard. But when you get to the top and then you roll down the hill, you don't even have to pedal. But you're gonna go a lot faster.
It's easy
Than what you got than getting up the hill.
But I also think there's a part to it where essentially what it really boils down to.
QFC, whoever you are, you're an idiot because it's GPT, not GBT. it's yeah.
But yeah, I think there's an element
Don't
to
act
it.
crazy in the comments.
Yeah.
That's
will come.
Yeah, like QFC. Go back to KFC, whoever you are.
But I think there's an element to it where it's just simply human beings, like we were talking about earlier, trying to find a way to make things more easy on themselves, to make things more accessible, and to even, like we were saying, not use their own ingenious or use their own ingeniosity, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're going up a mountain, right, and maybe I'm a newbie at it, right? Maybe I'm taking on a task where I've never done the same thing before. But I do it now, right? And I go through the hard work and I go through all of the trials. I go through all of the steps. I go through all the thinking and everything. Now I've already given myself a leeway to kind of be able to build an idea of what the steps towards this thing is. So now I have the ability to now replicate that same thing multiple times, over and over and over again, to the point where even my efficiency and my speed on it becomes better and better each time because I've already gone through the work. I've already put my genius on it, so my genius works differently each time.
Right.
But when you
the level of incompetence increases every time.
Exactly. And that's even a sense, that's how reincarnation even works when you really think about it. But when you take out that whole wanting to actually work for it and make things easier and accessible, that's when you kind of value the idea of speed. That's when you kind of lose the value of hard work. That's when you lose the value of actually developing yourself and evolving.
Yo, I know y'all don't really know, but my boy just snuck something in there, which is crazy. Like, he just snuck something in there. You gotta play it back, because that's crazy. He really just dropped the gem. Like, my boy just cooked a full course meal for y'all in like 40 seconds. That's crazy. I'm not going to speak on it again, but I just wanted to
we're
let
patting
y'all know
ourselves
that was
on the
crazy.
back.
Yes. Yes.
We're doing it.
I mean, the thing on computation, though.
It's almost like as if you should have been on the show.
Yeah.
Right. So might as well
Pumped
have.
out today.
But
yo.
On
the concept of
Why
computation,
you running?
correct?
Why you scared? Shout out to Hot Nemo.
Shout out, honey.
Yeah. Somebody send Hot Nemo the link, please.
So on the concept of computation, right? I think there's 2 degrees here. There's the people that are working at this that are serious, who are trying to discover things from a non-material aspect. And then
Using
there's
ChatGPT.
No. Quantum computers, artificial intelligence. And then the people that are receiving it on the other end, which is kind of like the regular people in the world who are just like accessing information and the Wild Web and stuff like that. But kind of referring back to that guy, Gordy Rose, one of the things he talked about is that the computation process of the AI
Barry Gordon
is increasing to such a degree that it's even allowing them to tap into parallel realities. And this is even a new topic that's
So-
being discussed. Hold
Okay,
on.
so
This is a new topic that's being discussed,
Man, that's an
in the
episode of
scientific
Black
world.
Mirror.
exactly.
Right.
Outta here.
which is very interesting because when he's even given that speech, he was like, I'm going to be using terms that you guys are not familiar with, but these are realities that we're actually beginning to tap into.
So
So the thing about it is that
See, if I had like a wah, wah, wah sound, I'd play it right now for
Yeah.
for Gordy Rose.
But the thing is this is what's interesting in what he's saying, is that the computation power of these things are moving at such a speed that they're allowing them like to look into a dimension, like a mirror dimension, and be able to grab certain resources because they're almost like looking into the shadow of that world and pulling those resources into this one. So there's different agendas at play
Yeah,
that
I mean,
most
but-
people are not
so-
investigating.
But what makes that agenda like false, or like what makes that agenda like bullshit, is the fact that that's the way entities and genies work.
that's
Because
exactly
entities and
what I was
genies,
gonna say.
entities and
Right.
genies are in the non-material, and they don't die. They're entities that don't have life and don't have death. They don't exist within the realm or the cycle of life and death. Human beings exist within the cycle of life and death, which means that in order to be born, in order to die, you have to be born. In order to die, you have to be. I mean, in order to be born, you have to be.
die.
You have to die, and in order to die, you have to be born. Right? But that's not the way that it works for genies and entities. They exist throughout eternity, so they don't exist within time and space, so they can literally bring you anything. And the way that they tend to work with human beings is they'll be like, hey, okay, this human being, I like the way this human is going about things, so now I'm willing to bring this human things and help it do things and this and that. That's what made Nikola Tesla so ingenious. Is he was so on it that he was able to figure out like all of these things that I'm able to do come from entities that aren't me. And if I train myself to function according to like locking myself in a room and being silent and allowing these things to manifest and listening to these things and allowing these things to bring things from other dimensions to me, then like that's what is allowing me to do all these things. But everybody just so dumb that they didn't understand what he was talking about and what he was able to, what he was really referring to or what he was alluding to, that then they're like, oh, no, it's got to be like he was just this and he was just that and blah, blah, blah. And all this kind of stuff, right? So all they're talking about is what we've been talking about, which is artificial intelligence is a knockoff of natural genies that exist within nature. So that means that, yes, of course, genies are tapped into non-material dimensions. You cannot see them. But in order to get them to bring you something, you have to maintain the connection with them, and they bring you something from these other dimensions that you then attempt to pull into the physical world. You attempt to pull into the physical existence, and then therefore you call that a copy or you call that an invention, but it's really just a really bad knockoff of what the genie was attempting to bring you or give you and bring into this realm, into this existence.
Manifestation.
So it's Barry Gordy or Gordy Rose or whatever his name is, Silver Rose, whatever his name is like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Honestly,
You know,
like, chill out.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, because my question for that is really this. Because there's two things, right? Because look, we have these smartphones, right?
Yeah.
And I know we talk about it a lot here in initiation. Like when we're using these smartphones, essentially what we're doing is we're using the genie of Steve
You're
Jobs.
relying on
Somebody
somebody
else's
else's
You're relying on
intelligence.
somebody else's genie.
Years.
Right. So it's almost like, my question is, when they have this quantum computer, is it his genie and now we're using his genie or relying on his genie that's now giving us all this information in all these other apps like ChatGPT? Or is he in contact with something else that he's not fully aware of from another dimension that's actually feeding off of him? Because it can go both ways. Like you can know how to have a relationship with a genie, and a genie can also be able to ride you.
Well,
Like
this
put the
thing.
Vaseline on and
Yeah.
slap you up. Right?
So before you go too far and you scare people, right? It's like before people, like, you know how people talk about like God, why'd you have to take it there? Because
We
then
were
now
already
we have
take it
to.
there.
We were already
We
going
gotta
there.
take
We
it
were
there.
already
now
going
we have
there.
to. Now we have to open things up that like.
Let's do it.
Gosh,
That's what we started the podcast for.
I was looking to make this one of those quick episodes where like we could, go get some fried chicken after this and just like call it a day. But like now we're gonna be on here for some time. So look, it's like anything in the realm of reality, right? There are okay, so existence, you really kind of can break it down to two energies, right? You can kind of break it down to like a constructive energy and a destructive energy. Mm-hmm. So that means like anything and everything that exists within the universe has to fit into either being like constructive or destructive. Because then those two, like the juxtaposition of those two energies is what allows existence and the universe to continue and to never finish. Mm-hmm. Is the juxtaposition of like a constructive energy and a destructive energy, then going at each other forever and ever and ever. Mm-hmm. And those two energies attempting to gain prominence and superiority over the other, mm-hmm. and never being able to maintain it for an extended period of time, right? So with that being said, then even genies, entities that exist within the non-material, energies that don't die, can have a predilection or an inclination toward a human being depending upon what type of energy that they align with, right? So you could have a human being that's very destructive, and then you can have a genie that is destructive also, then gravitate toward a human being that is very destructive, and then attempt or align with that human being to then help that human being continue in its destructive nature or the path of destruction that that human being finds it on.
Pause
and
real quick.
vice versa.
Just to make it very clear for you guys out there, somebody that's destructive does not always look like somebody like Bill Gates with an agenda and all of this yada yada.
Yep.
It could be you in your house doing whatever you're doing,
Beating
without
your
having-
kids.
exactly,
Not
without
washing
having a-
dishes.
Yeah, raping your
Exactly.
children.
Exactly.
Yeah. It could be a multitude of things. It could be it's many different things, right?
Smoking weed.
Selling weed.
I mean, what it really boils down to is it boils down to whether or not you're fitting into the continuation of the becoming of the existence.
Right.
So then that means like what you're signing up for is you're signing up to ensure that the existence continues to evolve. Mm-hmm. Now, when we say evolve, we're talking about the fact that like human beings did not create existence. So if human beings did not create existence, then you have to say that human beings in and of themselves then have to fit into the fact that this existence was created by things outside of us. And if it was created outside of us, then it means that there was a goal, there was an agenda in the creation of the existence in the universe, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, then human beings understood then, okay, how do I align myself with the energies or the goal or the agenda behind the cosmos, the existence, the universe, and ensure that I then am remaining harmonious in alignment with the agenda, the energies, the goal behind the creation of the cosmos, so that I don't become a hindrance to the continuation of the universe, the existence, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, the universe, right? So in that creation, depending upon the way you're actually fitting into it or not, then if you're a hindrance to the continuation of the continuation of the existence, then other entities might say like, hey, that's my guy. I'm gonna work with this guy. But if you're fitting into it, then other genies might say, hey, that's my guy. I'm gonna work with this guy. Because every entity, every being has to fit into one of those two energies. You're either a constructive force or a destructive force. And like Kenibashu was saying, it doesn't always look the way it feels. You could be very destructive, and you could feel phenomenal.
You could be one of those
great.
like people that's like, I don't eat eggs because it's a baby chicken,
Mm-hmm.
but I support abortion. You think that you're not being
You feel
destructive.
great.
You feel great about
You feel
your
good.
ideals and your ideologies about, your intentions. That's what it is. Your intentions are good, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Are you guys gonna like fucking high five now? You guys are like,
That's my generational,
you
brother.
guys ever seen that video of like the two women sitting at the table and then they lock their fucking toes?
No,
Like,
I
are
don't
you
know
guys
what you're
locking
talking
your
about.
toes underneath the? Because the way you guys said that, you guys were like,
Whatever, bro.
the way you guys like finish each other's sentence. So anyway, before Kenibashu and Kajazariman are like, Saikaptah sink. And then there's like a Voltron that's created because they're like, yeah.
Go, Power Rangers.
Exactly. So, anyway, I don't know if you have anything to add to that because you're the one that wanted to open that up, that we had to give like that very long context to, in terms of like, in terms of genies and, the way that they work and, and how they can align themselves to you and ride you with no Vaseline. Just dropping that nonchalantly without giving any context whatsoever.
Before you even jump in though, because I'm a very common sense guy. It's just like, it's common sense, bro. Like, people really be like dumb and be choosing to be dumb because it's really common sense. If I walk onto any block, like I could go, if I go to, let's say, a very affluent, prominently white neighborhood with a dress shirt and a tie and a pair of slacks and a belt, and it's all tight and it's very fashionable and it's in style, nobody's gonna feel like threatened. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, we got this guy's, we got him where we want him. He's cool. He's all right. But if I walk in, maybe with an afro and I don't know, a shirt with Malcolm X on it or something like that, they're like, okay, there's something
that
going on
brother's
with
woke.
this. Something
Yeah,
going
that's
on
my-
with
that's
this
my
one.
brother.
And he might be just a little violent, maybe, because he's against the system, obviously. There's something going on with this one. So it's like the same way that person's intelligence is working to tell them what you might be about. It's like your thoughts, whatever thoughts that you have on a daily basis, they're not, like, you can't see where they come from. So they have to be coming from somewhere. But if you can't see where they're coming from, then you can't necessarily say that they're coming from you. So wherever they're coming from, that's what you would have to credit for those thoughts. But people don't really have that context or that way of thinking about it. So like Tutipsu was saying, if you're a person that's going about things on the manners of pleasure, on the basis of what I want, versus what might be natural, then of course there's gonna be other people, right? Obviously, that's how we see it work. There's the herd mentality. Other people are gonna come around you that are like, okay, yeah, I don't, oh girl, you got birth control. I started that when I was 14, and it was a bad time at first.
You ever seen this? You see this horn right here, girl? That's because I've had it IVF since I was 13, girl.
Exactly. And now my ovaries don't work, but the job
I'm never
is cool.
gonna have children, but hey,
I've been
Go
working
get your
at
paper.
T-Mobile for the past 14 years, and I got that promotion. So it's like,
feel like when Verizon start hiring, I might even move up, girl. Shit.
but that's the thing, is like those kind of thoughts are real. Like, people really have those kind of thoughts and really talk like that. We're making a joke out of it.
Not
but
to knock
that's-
anybody that works at T-Mobile, by the way.
Hey man, my boy Brian working at T-Mobile, bro. Hook me up. But it's just like, those are real thoughts. Those are things that real people go through, and it's because there are real genies that are like, okay, cool. You want to cut off like a natural process? I bet. Like, I don't have a problem with that. You ain't got no problem with that. We ain't cahoots. Now I'm gonna lead you to do other things. I'm gonna give you these other thoughts. Maybe sometime you can. Maybe it's abortion. Maybe it's You know, maybe you slap a little kid a little hard once in a while or something like that. Like, you just get these extra other things that those people end up doing. And like I was saying, it's all a part of that ancestral wisdom. Like, when things become easier, you're going downhill. Like, it's like, wee! Like, you don't have to do anything. You can just let the controls go and roll down the hill. But that's not indicative, like Tutipsu was saying, of any kind of intelligence.
Or growth.
Or exactly.
Evolution, per se, right?
Exactly.
Zawaz, you had something to say?
I mean, I figured Kenny.
It's like our
really
unofficial,
covered it, but
unofficial fourth
I had a question in terms
This
of
guy.
guest
if
host
we are
goes.
actually
Yeah.
stealing resources
Yeah.
from these different worlds, because you know
Keep the mic close to your mouth, though.
we have an understanding that with the existence, everything's in exchange, but it doesn't seem as though the people behind this really have that concept or that understanding,
How do
because
you
we're
know
just
that?
stealing resources
But how do you know that though?
because of what they're saying. They're
That's what
actually
they're
legitimately
saying, but
saying
you
that.
don't really know what they're doing. That's
I
the
mean,
thing.
that's true too. But to some degree, we do see consequences coming out of this. But what is it? What does that consequence look like on a global scale? Now that you're having almost every single person that has access to the internet, just, you know, vying into this and buying
Y'all seen
into
that
it.
movie, what's it called, Wall-E?
Yeah, Wally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the fat
And
people
then they
just
get all
floating
the
around.
human beings to just not be human beings anymore and exert
you know,
themselves.
you know in that
Exactly.
movie, the reason why they were all fat was because they were feeding humans to humans.
Oh.
Like, think about it. Where was the graveyards and the grave ships?
Uh,
It's like when somebody dies, they grind them up into the food and then they stuff it down the tube and they feed the other person.
Yeah, that
That's
got
crazy.
really dark really
Yeah.
fast.
I didn't know Wall-E
yeah.
came
I never.
like that.
That's
I didn't
actually
even
like
know.
one of my favorite Pixar movies is Wally. Like, and you just ruined it.
Not anymore.
Because not anymore. Like, yeah, I'm like, because the whole thing is, it's about this, like, you know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
thanks.
welcome.
You just ruined Wally for me.
Awesome movie.
Like,
Gave
yeah,
it another
yeah,
layer
that's
of
it.
awesomeness.
Yeah, that's like it's one of my favorite Pixar movies. You gonna make me?
But you
Don't make
you
me
made me
cry.
think about a word though, because you could say that that's like dystopian, right?
Yeah, of course.
It would be a
Or
description
utopia,
of a
right? Dystopian utopia.
Right. So
Yeah.
the thing about, I want to jump to the transgender thing for a moment, because I looked into the etymology of the words, right? So they're diagnosing people with gender dysphoria,
Dysphoria.
right? The opposite of dysphoria is euphoria. So it's like that explains it all right there. It's like you trying to get this diagnosis to say that you dislike your gender. Disliking it, I don't, come on. It's like things that I don't want to have to deal with as a man from day to day. But it's like, okay, cool, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, being a human being doesn't come with everything being pleasurable. Because like euphoria is like it's like a nirvana almost of like
Exactly,
pleasure, right?
exactly.
It's like an attainable aspect of like pleasure where like everything is phenomenal.
Exactly.
That's probably why we have artificial intelligence now being used to make artificial realities for people,
Yeah.
because now you can fit yourself into that space or dimension in which nothing is really real. Like physically your body's here, but mentally you're somewhere else and you experience nothing but pleasure.
Only what you want. Yeah.
So is there like a gender euphoria?
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
so like when
okay,
you become a transgender, you reach gender euphoria.
Like,
And like
now
I
I'm
no
so
longer
happy.
suffer from gender dystopia. I've reached
It
gender
makes sense.
euphoria.
You know why it makes sense? Because that whole movement, even though they don't want to admit it, is really all about sex and pleasure.
And it's about
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
So
I
it's
feel like a woman, but I have a penis. I'm gonna chop off my dick and my balls, and I'm gonna go get them to
Yo,
turn it
that's
inside out, and then create like a create a.
so what's the process for the women when they want
They take the clit, I think, and like stretch it out, and then create the penis.
I thought they flipped the cervix inside out.
Something,
bro that
Like so, there's somebody that I saw this video the other day about like a trans person that they were like, I regret becoming like trans because they had a penis. They chopped it off, and then they had the surgeon make them a vagina, right? And the thing is like they have to go through this process where like they have to ensure that the hole. This is disgusting. That the hole that they made, which is a vagina, never closes, because what can happen, it can then get infected and then create like a bubble, and then they will die due to this bubble, this like infectious bubble then closing. So they have to go through this process like every day where they have to ensure that it like never closes, so that infection and that it can never close and then like properly heal, because that's a fucking wound. That's a flesh wound. And then they make sure that the flesh wound can never heal, so that they can then they can maintain this vagina, this like, you know, created vagina for other people to then enter. But yeah, that's the story.
And then this is
People are entering into an open wound that's not healed.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
On another note, though,
It's an evil world we live in.
facts. Yo, it's like it even applies to the artificial intelligence thing, though, because the body has its intelligences, right?
Exactly.
My hand has the intelligence to do
to come
whatever,
together,
to grab,
yeah.
to pick things up, to do the things that a hand does. Only my hand has those intelligences. My foot has the intelligences of a foot. Like, it does what feet do for a human being. My knees, all of this, blah, blah, blah. My penis, it does what a penis does for a man. It does it by default. And if it doesn't do it, there may be some things that I need to go find healing for. Shout out to ANHlife.com. It's like, .org. But it's like, if you don't have that context, just go ask the questions, man. I really feel a sympathy for humanity at this point, man. Like, ask for help, bro. Ask for help. And don't ask for it from your doctor. You know that your doctor doesn't have your...
They're asking for help, but they're asking for help and they don't even know they're asking for help. Because ultimately, from what I'm understanding, right?
Someone that's lost but doesn't think they're lost is like the worst kind of lost.
There you go.
That's true. Yeah,
that's true.
But dang, man.
Yo,
that's crazy.
It's
crazy.
It's sad, but you know,
that's
dang,
wild.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean,
just to finish my point on artificial intelligence, it's like, all right, you gonna take one intelligence away from the body and then try to turn it into another one. It's like,
if that doesn't prove the fact that this whole thing doesn't make sense and it's not a real thing, then I don't know what does. Because what he just said, that's it. That's a gem. The body has its own intelligences. You arrive on this planet the way you do for a reason, and you had a goal in when you arrived here, due to reincarnation, right? So you came back as a man or a woman for a reason, and the body has intelligences for it to function that way for a reason.
Yeah.
That alone kills this entire thing. But dang.
Yeah. I mean, we have a question from DeMarcus. DeMarcus said,
yo, DeMarcus he's in the chat every week. Yo,
shout out to DeMarcus, because DeMarcus always comes with good questions too. And he said, so can a genie help you with your spiritual purpose or something? And I'm in the chat on air, so I responded to him and I said, well, he also said, like, when you have those creative moments, where do ideas come out of nowhere? Is it a genie? And then I answered, I said, when you say purpose, what do you mean? And he said, purpose, like the reason your spirit was brought to the material world, like ancestral purpose. Now, the question is, yes, you can have a genie that can help you with your ancestral purpose. Because depending upon, like, remember when we were talking about how human beings at a certain point had said, like, okay, we want to make sure that we contribute to the existence in a way that's helping the existence continue, that's helping the universe, the cosmos, you know, like everything that we know as it is, like, continue is yes. So then certain entities will be like, hey, you know, like, I'm gonna help that person continue,
Right.
depending upon the way they've been moving. So this is where the concept of like enchantment comes from, because when we start dealing with these entities and then we talk about like enchanting these entities, or like the process of enchantment, is because these entities don't necessarily, they don't have anything to gain because they don't die. And because they live forever throughout existence and they're not in the dimension of time and space, they don't have to enter into any contracts with us. But sometimes when they see human beings functioning in a certain way, they'll be like, hey, you know what? I like the way this human being is functioning. I like what this human being is doing or what they've set out to do. So I will help them in whatever they vowed or they said they would help and contribute to the universe, the existence, the cosmos, all of those kind of things. So yes, a genie can help you with your spiritual purpose and like what your ancestors set out to contribute to the universe, the cosmos, you know, all of that stuff. And when you said when you have those creative moments, it comes from a genie. It doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from a genie, because the genie is the one that's providing those ideas and, you know, the things that you're coming up with to you. So it is coming from a genie. It's not coming out of nowhere. You know, it's not that you're necessarily like kind of pulling it out of thin air or your own mind, you know, your own thinking, your brain is what's coming up with it. It's coming from a genie that is choosing to, you know, join with you, attach itself to you, and help you and assist you in your physical existence in the material world as a human being, in terms of your spirit inhabiting a body for a specific point and time and space. DeMarcus, I hope that.
That was a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, and if anybody else has any questions, you can drop them in the chat, because we're going to be wrapping up soon. So, you know, time is of the essence. You got questions, you might as well ask now. And you guys can be asking questions throughout the conversation, because you know, we'll answer them on air. You know, we want to interact with you guys. We want to connect with people. So, you know, like, please, by all means, drop your questions in the chat. And, you know, tell us what's on your mind. You know, ask us for anything. And then, you know, if we know, we'll touch on it. If we don't, we'll check with the elders and see if they know, and then, you know, get back to you. And then it seems, oh God, Genesis is telling us about how they dilate over a period of time until it heals. That's disgusting. So that's like when they create the flesh wound that becomes the vagina. And so they call it phalloplasty. Creates a penis and urethra to stand while urinating.
You don't have to
They
read
use
that one.
tissue from the individual's forearm or thigh. They do this in 2 stages. Metoidoplasty takes their existing genital tissues and makes it longer, turning it into a defined phallus. Yeah, I mean, hey, just wait until next time. Like, you ever heard like
Right.
in reincarnation, like
Right.
that's the thing, is like sometimes you're a man, sometimes you're a woman. Like, if you have carryover from the past life and like you still feel the energies from your past life and you're like, I was a woman in my past life, but now I'm a man and I feel more aligned with my energies from my past life, just wait until next time. You might come back as a woman. Like, you don't have to mutilate your body.
Word.
Like, just chill out. Just give it some time, playboy. Like, just wait it out.
Or seek some
Like,
help.
Yeah, but, you know, not help, because you can go get help. They'll present help to you to go get to mutilate your body. And that's
No.
different.
I mean, seek some other kind of help.
You mean spiritual help? On Costa Natural Healing?
Yeah.
Like what? We're just gonna become the fix all for all of your past life issues. Like, if you're out here questioning your sexual existence, come on.
identifying. Like, yo, he even dropped it for us in a class because he was teaching one of the classes that I'm in this past week. And he was saying, you know, what are the properties? He was asking us about like a specific thing. He said, what are the properties of this thing? Right? And we start talking about it. But before that, he had asked us what the identity of it was. Right? And then through listing the properties of it, you understand the identity of something.
Or you could, right?
Right. Or you get a picture of what it would be. Like if Kaja Raymond was walking down the street and I'm calling the cops on him, I'm like, hey, there's a black guy. There's a black man on my street.
What's his identity?
Right. Describe him.
We're trying to identify this thing.
Exactly, because the cops want to identify.
It's black.
I'm going to say he's brown skinned. He's got a little high top fade. He got the Ankh necklace on. He got the A&H shirt. I'm going to explain these things. He's a man. He's, you know, he looked like he weighed 100 pounds.
And you know what's funny? You will give them that description, and they will still go and arrest Tutanen.
That's a fact.
You match the description. And for those that can't see Tutanen's like, how tall are you? Like 6'2"? How tall are you, bro? 6'2"? You're 6'3"? So
Damn.
Tutanen's like 6'3", and he's maybe like what, like 150 pounds, 160. And Kaja Zariman's like, how tall are you? Like 5'6"?
5'8".
5'8". He's like 5'8", like 100 and like what, 99 pounds? Like 99 pounds flat?
120.
120. So he's
in the gym.
Yeah, he's in the gym. So he's like, no, 120 pounds, not 99 pounds. Damn, I weigh like double. Like I've got you by like double, bro.
That's great for you.
Yeah, but like if you need some, I can. Maybe we can lipo.
Nah,
we can go see a
I think I'm
doctor and they'll
good.
lipo
I
it.
think I'm good.
And then give it to you, and then you'll like
Nah.
fill out a little bit.
No, I think I'm good. What you can go to one of those transgenders and they can take some.
No, I'm good. It's okay.
Yeah, hit up one of their lawyers. They'll get you in
Yeah,
there for the
right.
plastic
Yeah.
surgery easy. They'll get you in there easy.
If I was like on this planet like, and I had like no morals, and I was just like out here to make money, bruh, I would be out here. I would be like a transgender boxer. I'd be like a transgender lawyer. I would be a transgender pastor. I would be like everything, bro. Like I would do it all. I would be out here like preaching in church as a transgender pastor. I'd be like a transgender Black Lives Matter activist. I would do it all, bro, all of it. And like I would be here making so much money, bruh.
It was a dude
Bruh.
that said he identifies. What he say? He said I identify as on time because I'm always
So I
late
can't
for
be
work.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was a video, and it was like a guy. He's like, I identify as everything,
Right.
And then he was like, and I identify, and when I'm late, I identify as on time.
Exactly.
He's like, because I'm late a lot. He's like, but then my boss can't get mad at me because I identify as on time. And I mean, it's ridiculous
It's getting crazy.
at this point. It's just crazy, and you know, I know we're getting to a point where like we're hitting almost like 2 hours, and yeah, I mean, artificial intelligence it's not here to help you; it's here to hinder you. It's here to make you more and more become less than yourself. And there's a story in the initiation about fishermen, and there's a fisherman, and you guys want me to tell the story, or one of you want to tell the story?
You could start
I
it
think
and
he's
drop it off.
volunteering. Yeah, he's volunteering.
You said what? Oh, he's just giving
got
us
excited.
he's just giving us the yeah.
Go.
He's saying the
Let him cook.
so. As if one of you guys want to tell a story, one of you guys can tell a story if you want.
He's a great storyteller.
Am I? Okay.
Wonderful.
Like, because it's not that I know
Okay.
any one of us can tell the story. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, in a time long ago,
In a
All right.
galaxy far, far away.
no, right here on Earth,
Well, the way you started that was like the Star Wars.
Star Wars,
Yeah,
right?
so I'm like,
The
okay,
yellow
cool.
letters.
Like in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago.
Nah, but it's important to lay out the context that a lot of these initiatic stories, or all of these initiatic stories, really are just, they have been preserved for a very, 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 very long time. And they've been told with an accuracy that really gives a context and an understanding of how we should walk as human beings. So back in the time of those great ancestors, there was a traditional fisherman, right? So when in these times that we're talking about, that we're referencing with the great ancestors, right? You don't do things just because you want to do things. You do things because they're in your blood. You do things because your father did them. You do things because that day that Tutipsa was talking about earlier, where human beings made a vow to say that I'll take care of this part of human life, basically, or I'll do this thing to make sure that human life and the existence is kept at that balance. Fishing is one of those bloodlines, right? So you have, like a blacksmith, you have fishermen, you have farmers, those kinds of things. And you just don't do these things just because you want to. You do them because they're in your blood. You do them because your fathers did them. You do them because those genies are with you, helping you to do those things. So you have a traditional fisherman, and basically he's going out and he's trying to catch fish, and his family is basically going through a hard time where he's just making it by week to week, day to day. He's struggling. So he's going out and he's trying to catch fish, and it's basically looking dry. Like there's not a lot of fish. Some days there's no fish. He's coming home and he has to tell his wife, I didn't catch anything, and we're gonna have to figure it out. How we figure it out. So one day he gets in his boat and he goes out and he's fishing, and he pulls up his net, and in his net there's a bottle, and from the bottle he hears a voice, and the voice is coming from a genie, right? There's a genie in the bottle, and the genie is basically saying that if you, Mr. Fisherman, let me out of this bottle, I will grant you a wish, right? I will grant whatever wish you ask me for. I will give you whatever you desire. So at that point in the story, right, the storyteller, the griot, always has to stop and ask the question, well, what would you do, right?
And you can go in the comments and tell us what you would do. If you want to tell us what you would do, you can go in there and, say like, hey, I would do this, I would do that, and all this kind of stuff.
So I know when I first got told the story along with this guy in class.
What did you say, by the way?
I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, all right. So of course I seen Aladdin when I was a little kid. So I'm like, all right, bet I got a wish. I'm thinking about what my wish is. I'm not even thinking about like, okay, if I'm going to do it or not. I'm like, what's my wish? Like, what's the best thing that I can think of to get?
Like, so how many bitches can I get?
Can I wish for more wishes?
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
I always ask that question. It's like a taboo almost.
Exactly.
Like you can't wish for more wishes.
Exactly. But it's the first thing I'm thinking of.
That's a get out of jail free card.
Right.
Like you just like, of course, like if you ask for more wishes, then it's like, then you lose the value of the prior wishes.
Exactly.
Like, so that's why you can't just be like, I wish for more wishes.
But it also exposes. I kind of don't want to get this away before somebody asks or says their response to it. But it's almost like you try to turn it.
We have an initiate that said, "Open up the bottle, baby." That is Medicata.
Oh man,
we're gonna need initiates.
You're one of a kind.
Yeah, we're gonna need initiates to not give the story away, please.
But even that thought of like, can I ask for more wishes? It turns the idea of the genie sort of posing me or kind of like trapping me to me being able to trap the genie. And it exposes like the way that we think in the West. Like that's the way that I was, brought up to think. Like if somebody presents something to me, I have to figure out the best way for me to be able to benefit from it and just like kind of take what I can get from it. Even if it's not, like I know it's not good for me to have. I seen Aladdin, I saw what happened. Like it's not a good thing for me
Aladdin
to be thinking.
came out on top though. He got Jasmine. He married Jasmine. That means he's about to be the king. He's about to be the sultan.
It was a little shiesty.
And yeah, but hey, I've seen Aladdin. It worked out pretty good for Aladdin. Aladdin got 3 movies, bro.
Hey, yo.
Yeah. He was Aladdin, and I don't even know what the second one is, but he became Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Worked out pretty well for Aladdin, bro.
Oh man!
Yeah.
But you had to go through a lot of BS to end up getting there,
That's
and the
life.
genie was really
Make me the sultan.
But the genie was really looking out for him.
Yeah,
it was like
because he wished for the genie's freedom, and then the genie was like, "I got you."
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, like I don't blame the
exactly.
I don't blame Aladdin, bro.
Exactly.
I'd be out there like, hey, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Back to the story.
Back to the story, right? So
Excuse us, conscious Ruben.
most of us in the class were like, well,
Wait, what
yeah.
did you say?
My question was, okay, then why is he even in the bottle? Who put him there?
Yeah.
That was my question.
Exactly. So some people come to that.
As well as what did you say?
If you're so powerful, why can't you free yourself?
Tutana, what did you say? Were you like, are you having a good day?
Honestly,
Being
I don't know.
very
I mean,
nice to the genius.
I'm not sure.
I'll let you.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Do
anything for me.
But that's the power. That's the power of befriending, is that things come out in the process.
I'm about to turn your mic off.
That's intelligence. That's intelligence.
He's like, I asked the genie, like, you having a good day? Like, you good, bro? You need anything? Like, can I get you anything? Like,
I get the fish, you get the wine. You know what I'm saying?
How long you been in that bottle, bro?
yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, bro. I know you probably cramped, right? You ain't stretched your legs in a long time. Like, I got you, bro. I got you.
Bro.
Yeah, he's like, sorry about this. He's like, but my wife is calling. I gotta go. He's like, so I'll get back with you, but just wait here, okay?
Yeah, basically. So your thinking takes you to a lot of different places, and a lot of people come to different conclusions or different questions that they end up wanting to ask the genie, or maybe some people are just like, yeah, I'm gonna let because the thing is, like, your family is struggling. That's the part about it, right? You're going through a hard time, like a really, really, really rough time, and this is something that you're almost like is your purpose in life. Like, you're destined to be doing this. Your fathers have done this. Your fathers' fathers have done this. It's been being done for thousands of years at this point, and you're doing it, and you're doing it with all of your effort. It's not like you're shorting it at all. You're going out every day and trying to do this and putting yourself to work, and it's not working out.
Making it happen.
Exactly. So you get to that point where this genie is like, hey, like, let me out and I got you. I'll put the fish in the river for you. I'll put the fish here. I'll make sure that you're never starving again. I'll give you your wish.
I'll give you everything you've been asking for.
Exactly. So, of course.
Don't give it away. We're not gonna answer it for people.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna give you
I mean,
the
due to the topic, I think people can. Or people are
Exactly.
smart enough to figure out where the
Exactly.
story is really going,
Exactly.
based on what we were talking about.
hopefully people are, but we're not going to spell it out for you. But this is actually, I think this is like one of the first lessons you get in initiation. This is one of the very first stories you receive in initiation in one of the classes, because what we do is we highlight the way that human beings have been degenerating, or the atrophy of the human faculties, and this is what this story highlights, is that there's a degeneration of human faculties, which is deliberate, so that you're unable to, fit into your surroundings and function with, the powers that be around you in terms of the natural world. So there's a lot of things going on that we are doing right now. There are a lot of events that we have going on. You can go to Dogon Wisdom and check out a lot of the events that we have going on. We have a lot of events here in the New Jersey, New York City area. And I just want to shout out one specific event in particular, right? Is we are doing an event on, what's the dates of the can you guys pull up the retreat for me, please, and pull that up for me, right? So let me know when you guys have that on the screen, because it's cool, we could wait, we ain't got nothing but time. Is it on the screen?
Yeah.
Cool, it's on the screen. So, we are going to be hosting a very special event. And this event that we're bringing to you guys, this event is a Dogon Wellness Retreat. So this is the first event of its kind where we are going to be hosting a wellness retreat coming from the Dogon indigenous way of life, which means that you can take one weekend. The dates are, can somebody shout me out the dates? July 14th through the 17th of July. And you could take one weekend and go up to, we have a Dogon temple in upstate New York, specifically in Salt Point, New York, not too far from Poughkeepsie, right? And we will be doing so many life-altering events and experiences that you can have during this Dogon Indigenous event. And I know a lot of you guys have been requesting and asking for us, to do a pilgrimage, for us to, for people to be able to visit our temples back home, because that's what we do. We give you the ability to come visit our temples in Merita, for you to come in and, really experience the Dogon way of life and the indigenous way of life. And we know that, due to COVID and a lot of different things, we haven't been able to do it for some time. So we decided to bring the pilgrimage, to some extent, the indigenous way of life to America, right? So a lot of non-initiates have been asking for this, and this is what we're doing. We are bringing the Dogon indigenous experience to you in America for an exclusive, limited engagement. Now, I know a lot of people, you're just kind of living in the city, you're doing what you can, you got the asshole boss, you're living in the Babylon capital of the Matrix in terms of New York City. You're doing this, you're doing that. So if you're living in New York City, where it's an hour and a half train ride up to Poughkeepsie, and then, it's not too far to the Salt Point Temple, and there's going to be a lot of different experiences that you can get, right? And what we suggest for you to do is check out all of the experiences that are available to you on the Dogon Wisdom website, and then you can learn more about it, and you can come check it out for a weekend. There's going to be a Dogon priest there. There's going to be a lot of experiences for you to, to get into and to have, and it's a. If you're not familiar with what we do, then this is your first time you'll be able to experience it. But for a lot of you that are familiar with what we do and that have been kind of begging and kind of like requesting this, this is your opportunity. You don't want to miss this. We only have a certain amount of slots. I can't promise that everybody's going to be able to attend it, because we can only, promise a certain amount of slots because of the fact that there's, we want to make sure that like we're very attentive to the people that are present. So if you're in the New York City, New Jersey area, even if you're not, and you know you have it where you're able to attend, by all means, please come on and attend. Get your ticket as soon as you can, because we only have so many tickets available. We only have so many slots, and you really don't want to miss this event. Me personally, if I wasn't an initiate, I would be there to sign up for this event, because it's going to be life-altering. It's going to be life-changing. For those of you that have attended our events within the past couple of years that we've been doing in California, that we've been doing in different areas, where we've been kind of curating these experiences and bringing these experiences, you guys can really attest to the power of them. So, hey, if you're in the area, you're not doing anything that weekend, and you know you're really searching and you know looking to experience something like this, then don't miss this opportunity. This has been another episode of the Gated Gates podcast. My name is Tutip Samayakwa Namir. I'm here with Kenibashu Saikaptah, Kajezarim Saikaptah. We appreciate you for tuning in. We know you could be doing anything else, but here you are. You're here with us, so we appreciate it. We appreciate all the support, and we hope you continue to support us and continue to tune in, and we're continue to bring you and connect with you through this platform. And you know, may your ancestors continue to protect you and guide you and put good things and goodness and blessings and benedictions in your path. Idiadu.
Shout out to my mama.